up, are we? Looks good. T-3. We have a nice floater today. Looking good, looking good. Oh, what's this? Oh, a beer keg. There's a beer keg from the oyster shack next door sitting outside. I guess the beer company comes and changes it. Good morning, gang. Good morning. It's like my family here. Oh, these same faces, the same people every day. Nice to see you guys. Thank you. It's like a TV show you watch 3 times a week, right? New mic situation. Haven't changed anything. I don't think, is it? I don't think so. I think it's there it is. You could hear his footsteps. Okay, we're going to pick up exactly where I left off the other day. Actually, not quite exactly. I did a bit more hammering last night so that I get the noisy stuff out of the way before the stream starts. So we'll do a bit of clearing on this, then move on to our horses in the snow. What else is happening today? It's Monday morning here. We have this work to do, horses in the snow. We have 2 show and tells. Interesting stuff, actually. I haven't opened them yet. I will be opening them on stream, unboxing. One is old stuff for the collection, and one is something we'll probably throw into the shop. Let's get going. There was also a funny experience last night, and I'll show you a link here. In fact, I'll put the link in. This was an auction last night on Yahoo Auction here. Something I was thinking about bidding on, but I thought, don't bother, David, it's going to go out of your reach anyway. And it went out of my reach. Here is the auction that was up last night. There you go. I did not bid on this, just so you know in advance. I did not bid on this. Carving yourself at this very moment. Good. Don't cut yourself. Okay, for those of you who weren't here the other day, what this is color block number 5 for the Patron Chibis. We are way, way, way behind in getting these out the door. I apologize for that, but whatever. Good cooking. It's block number 5, and the test printing showed that the 4 color blocks we were proposing weren't enough to make an attractive print, so we added 1 more. When the soup isn't tasty enough, just throw more stuff into it. Right? Isn't that how it works? Yeah, the price on that auction, so that's why I posted it to you. I know the price on that auction. I've never seen one go that high before. I didn't bid because I thought it was going to go beyond my reach, but I didn't expect it to go to what is that? That's about $17,000, right? You don't see that very often on Yahoo auctions. People are not so willing to throw that kind of money around for prints that they haven't actually inspected, you know. Yeah, $17,000. And I think there's a few things. It's a group of prints, so some of them seem to be Edo originals. They seem to be. And one of them clearly is on the print at the top left-hand corner. And that print has become famous in recent years because it's an Edo era image. Edo or Meiji? Late Edo or maybe Meiji, I'm sorry. Early Meiji. It shows the Skytree 100 years before it was built. There were no structures that tall in Edo at that time. There were fire lookout towers, but there was nothing ever that tall. So nobody has any idea what he's depicting there in that picture. but it has become very, very famous because of that depiction of the Skytree. And as far as the people who were bidding on that last night, there were 2 people who took it right to the end to $17,000. And I guess, I know nothing about this, of course, but I guess that would be the publicity director for the Skytree. If that was my job, if I was publicity director for the Skytree, I would easily drop $20,000 on that print. You could get that back in your first day. We're on a special exhibition. Earliest view of the Skytree from Edo time. People would pay to come in. You could get your money back in minutes. The top left, the print at the top left corner there. Yeah, the 2 guys are burning they're burning bugs off the bottom of a boat at the front. Actually, I brought it in. It's here. I thought we would be talking about this, so I got this. Bingo, this one. Here we go. It's Kuniyoshi, Joe. Kuniyoshi from, I don't know what year. Someone look it up, this is real. And it's, in the background, there's a Skytree. And there was nothing. It wasn't technically possible to build stuff like that in the Edo time. A bridge, yes, I guess. On the right-hand side, there's some boat masts. On the left-hand side, there's what looks like a fire tower. They built some of those. When there was a fire, people would run up, ring a bell, and warn everybody. But look in the distance behind it. Now, I would believe it's a fire tower. I think so. You're asking the wrong guy here for actual. But look at that. What is in that print? And this was found, well, somebody 3, 4, 5 years ago, this came up in the media here because somebody had seen this old Kuniyoshi print and said, what is going on? Is this aliens dropping a rocket launch tower or something? There was a big talk about it. So last night when this went up on auctions, there it is, $17,000 for the group, for the whole group of prints. I had no idea. Nobody does. But as I said, if I were the publicity director for the Skytree right next door, I would have spent way more than that on this. It would be hugely interesting for the visitors. Heck, we would buy it for the Mokonkan collection. I can't pay $17,000 for it, but... Again, I don't think the guy who sold those, if you click through to see his other auctions, he's not a print dealer. He sells antique teapots and knickknacks and junk and stuff. So he must have stumbled across these things, said, whatever, let's put some Yahoo auctions. And last night he sees this going up, but he must have just, oh my God, what have I done, Yeah, so I don't think putting them up in a single batch was such a great idea. I know. There's a plus and a minus to that. I know some of those prints clearly are originals. That Kuniyoshi is clearly an original. But some of the other ones, the Tokaido print, the Hokusai print from the 36 Views series, if you saw them by themselves, they really, really could look like Taisho or Meiji reproductions, But by putting them up in a group like that together, the guy has found this batch of old prints. There's still no authoritative provenance on this. It could have been, there still could be some reproductions mixed in, but it's much more likely that it is a unified batch of prints from, somebody who collected back in the old days. So that's an advantage to putting them up together in a group like this, He had some other groups last night too. There were 3 or 4 groups by the same guy, the same dealer. And clearly he got hold of some, got access to some house where an old collector from the Meiji time or whatever. And the family was selling the stuff off. So putting them in a group helps authenticate them to some degree. The print with a strange chrysanthemum frame. I don't have them. You're talking about on the auction, you mean? I don't have the stuff in front of me right now. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't want to start opening a browser here. Someone that tower says that tower is nuts, and absolutely. When this came up in the news a few years ago, there were all kinds of people trying to figure out where that thing is in the location. It's a known location. That's a picture of a river. Because there's a distant view of a river and a bridge and a fire tower, the people who know these things dig out the old Edo era maps and try to figure out the location of where that tower thing is. And guess what? Guess what? They figure it's up there, that same area. So I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. Alien visitation. I don't know. The cynical viewpoint is that sure, it's just simply a forgery. Someone like me, whatever, who has good skill to cut and print, did the block like that, got some old antique paper and made a forgery. Whatever. It's a nice little theory, but unfortunately, to be able to get paper like that and the aging and the pigments, it's just not possible. But it would be cool. That little thing was Dave's side project a few years back. And now I'm dribbling them out onto Yahoo auctions one by one, mixing them with a bunch of old prints to help do it, I can tell you the story like this to help make sure nobody is going to suspect me of this, Okay, I think that part's all clear. Let's move to the rest. This is not going to take all that much time. I should be careful, we're on the back side of the key block. And I got to be careful, these little shavings and stuff. If I run around too much, these shavings can scratch. So I should be a bit more careful. Did you read my suggestion to the collection site last stream? I don't remember. I did read the stream, actually, so the answer must be yes. Do I remember who suggested what? I don't know. I know there has been lots and lots of suggestions, lots and lots of commentary about this. Tom 1060, I don't remember. That was gasoline. That was a gasoline delivery truck. Okay. Don't know why we were going down this street. That's the truck that goes to gas stations to fill them up. Never seen one on this street before. The collection website, so suggestions and suggestions and suggestions. There's lots of them. A number of suggestions are about the overlaid images, how to compare prints side by side. And very much this is in play, thinking about this. And many other suggestions are, how do I put this? There's lots of people talking about different ways to do the navigation. And the question of how much data to show and how much data to search by and stuff like this. And there's a couple of viewpoints on this. I know Rose-san, who works for us, I know Rose Council, she's an antique book dealer in her own right. She works for us a little bit. She was doing flea market help for me when we, had the shop and stuff like this. She, because she's an antique dealer and a researcher and interested in the historical stuff and all this, she very much came back to me with a long list of a couple of pages of email, about different things that we should. Oh yeah, okay. she suggested a bunch more, that we should have print size, provenance, carver's name, and she gave me a long list of information that should be there and should be searchable and stuff like that. And then this morning, friend Mark Kahn, who runs Ashote.com, another website that has a good database and image database of older prints and stuff, he wrote with some suggestion for much more detailed search for the collection. And I'm not going to do that in the short term anyway, or on the front page or accessible. I'm not going to do that. I've been trying to think for many years about this collection and what it's for and who it's for and why I'm doing this and stuff like that. And a bunch of things seem to be a bit paradoxical here. And I'm thinking about myself as an example. Dave here has been interested in these prints for, well, I don't know, whatever it is, 40 plus years now. I'm really interested in this stuff. And yet, how much time do I spend on the British Museum website or the Metropolitan Museum of Arts or the Boston Museum of Arts? They have tens of thousands of prints, really beautiful prints. How much time has Dave spent on the British Museum website in the past few years? I've never been there. Actually, I did. I went the other day when I was looking for a comparison to look for things like this. And it was interesting. And I was there for a few minutes and then left. And I'm not trying to shoot at stuff. I'm just trying to say, what are these websites for? What are these images for? Why are we doing this? How are we doing this? What's the whole point of this? And my purpose of our little collection website, which is going to eventually be a massive website, is not a place where people can type in a search term and come up with, oh, that's the kabuki play where actor Otani Juzaburo was on the stage to do something like this. I don't have the slightest interest in stuff like that, even though that's the actual content of the prints I've got in my collection. What I want that collection to be is a place where people with no knowledge or interest, or people with some knowledge or interest, or people whatever, like exactly the people watching the stream, people with an interest in this but not professionals, where they would go to that website and say, holy crap, look at how beautiful. You get what I'm getting at? That's what I want to encourage from people. So that website's not going to be about the data. It's not going to be about a research website. It's all going to be about, look at these fabulous objects. Actually, John's comment here, the research in the Great Wave, they sent me their images. We've had lots of email contact back and forth with the British Museum researchers, one particular lady there. So what's on their website is not so useful for me, but the images she sent me back and forth for comparison were more interesting. Anyway, whatever, I'm rambling, but you get the point. That collection website that we are starting to build, I'm starting to build, is absolutely not, I don't want, when you click and arrive there, when you're beginning, you arrive there, there's a search box and you want Oban or Tanzakuban or Yoshitoshi or date 1745, and just like I want to get out of here, I'm back in school. I just want to show, bang, and then wow, let me look at another one, and then bang, wow, these are cool, let me look at another one, bang. That's what it's for. That's what it's going to be for. So I'm thinking that probably even the data page, I'm going to hide it. I'm going to hide everything in the background. Maybe there'll be a link for power users or researchers or something to actually look up stuff. But that's not what it's going to be about. So I don't know. To me, speaking about the British Museum website, Rose San sent me a link and said, here's an example of people that have really done it really well. And she said the data is there front and center on the left, and you can scroll the print in a separate image so that the data is always right there in front of you while you're looking at the picture. And I'm smiling. I'm not yelling at her about this because that's her viewpoint. She's a researcher. But I'm smiling at her, Rosa, and that's like, you're not telling me something good here. This is not a feature. This is a bug. The data is always front and center while you're looking at the print. Whatever. I'm going to do it like the way I want to do it. And part of it, too, there's another aspect to this, too. The data. What play some specific kabuki actor was in, what year that was on, who the original publisher of this was. This is data that I don't know. I could easily go to whatever XXY website or search around and read over there and copy and paste and put it into our database. But what's the point of that? If you're going to be a primary source, you've got to know and understand that information. So I'm just going to copy data from somewhere else. Anybody else can do that. We're going to put the information up that we know so that the information on there is primary data. Coming along. I'm not watching too well what's going on here. I'm sorry, Yes, this is something John, Mr. Becker TN, I know, who is eagerly looking for more chocolate eggs. This, John, is exactly where we are going to go with this. It's a question, right? The first step for me now is structure and framework. Step 2, put more stuff. Step 3, now I'll get to the real point. I want technical information on these prints. Here's how I think this was made. Here's how it is. This particular pheasant print shows Kimidashi. Here's a link to a data page that shows how you do this. That's where I want the value to come for this thing. Absolutely. Technique tags, not just technique tags, pages of showing how to do this. I'm going to be careful with the chocolate eggs. I think I might be showing chocolate egg favoritism. Maybe became a joke with me and John that chocolate eggs, and I'm ignoring other people on that. Sorry about that. So yeah. Don't put all your chocolate eggs in John Becker's basket. So my apologies to the community here. Sorry. Although actually, there is whatever. John's been here. He's been here once or twice or 3 times or 4 times. So of course he comes to mind easier because he's actually been here. So sorry about that. Nah, funny. The other thing I would really would like to do more, there's one single example in the collection right now. There's an audio link. One of the prints there has an audio link. And I've just simply repurposed. I had a bit of audio that I made more than 10 years ago about that print. So I just dumped that quickly in there. It's Dave's voice from 10 or 15 years ago, I can't remember. And that would be really useful for this. And what I'm thinking we might do, the time constraints here just become unbelievable. So what I'm thinking we might do is, rather than an actual formal, let's get Studio B ready or Studio number 2 ready and get the mics ready and blah, 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 which all takes time. What we're probably going to do at one point, we had 3 or 4 years ago, someone saying, Dave, what if you get sick or something and disappear, and all these prints, nobody knows what they are, what they're about, So I was saying, okay, what we should do then, let's sit down one afternoon or 2 afternoons or 3 afternoons, somebody get it recorded, just put the recorder on the table, bring the prints out and show me one at a time, and I'll tell you what I remember, what that print is, what I know about it, why we got it, and stuff like that. Next one. We'll just chat and drink tea and talk about these prints. And the staff will just run the recorder. And we could do that actually, so it wouldn't take any time for me, just we sit there for a couple of hours and the staff members just poke me and prod me and record the stuff. And then those little clips are taken one by one and throw those up into the collection for each one. So I could do this with a minimum amount of preparation and overkill. I always do the overkill. Spend 6 hours on something that could be done in a few seconds. So yeah, recordings, me explaining or trying to explain or thinking out louder. Why did I get that print? Oh yeah, I remember the day I bought that in Yamada Shoten or stuff like that. Those would be fun. But just getting to them, oh my God, how do I get to them? You know. So that's the kind of vision, is that the right word, vision I have for this collection. It's not going to be anything like any of the other ukiyo-e collections on the internet. It's not for research, it's not for edification, it's not for information, it's just whatever. It's just to share that feeling when I put the print on my own desk. It's funny, last night, you know, it was late last night. I'd been doing whatever. I put up those little shote prints in there. 67 prints all went into one page on there. I put those up last night. I've owned these prints for years. I've known them. I've looked at them. I've studied them. I've reproduced 2 of them myself already. I know these things. Last night, I get ready for bed. I go and brush my teeth. I come back. It's whatever, 12:30 or something. Let's take a last little look at that thing I put up today. And I browsed the whole freaking selection of them. They were that attractive. When you get a big monitor, just those little tiny prints will go like 10 times life size. You can see, and I spent a half an hour browsing the whole thing, and I was supposed to go to bed, and I've got the original prints. That's how attractive that thing looked on the screen. So that's what that website is about. The guy who's already got the own original prints found it more attractive to look at them on the screen. What? It's like the Ito-san carver video. Did I tell you that last week or so? A couple of weeks ago. I don't remember when this was. It would be now a couple of weeks ago, whatever. The YouTube comments, you know, a comment comes again and again and again and again about that YouTube video, visiting Ito-san. The comment will say, I don't know how I got here, but wow, you know, I watched the whole thing or something. And then many people say, I clicked and thought, okay, I'll watch the first couple of seconds of this, and then 29 minutes later, there I am, you know. So I was reading a bunch of these comments. I think I told you this already, a couple of weeks of the story, you know. So I sat down, just click for a second. What is it at the beginning of that video then? What is it? I clicked on the Remembering a Carver video just to see, like, what is going on here? And 29 freaking minutes later, I was still there. And it's my own video. I know what it says. I don't need to watch that thing. So yeah, that's what that collection is about. I want a whole bunch more people to get interested in this. Anyway, sorry. Noisy. I'm ignoring whatever. Wait, Karen. Really nice photos of my prints and taking crap to tempt people to steal these images. Karen, you're doing it wrong. Oh my God. You want people to steal those. Please. If you woke up in the morning, New York Times newspaper headline, 50 million downloads from Karen's prints. People stole them last night. Oh my God. Would that be bad news or good news? You want people to steal those. You want people to take them. The digital are free. Let them take them. The digital are free. It's different from us and the musicians. My friend Tatsuya Dejima, he's living in Hammer. We were neighbors for years back in the thing. He's a guitarist. He works for Casio. He's retired now. He worked for Casio building keyboards or something, and wanted to make a career as a musician. He makes CDs. He couldn't do it. He made the CD, people dub it and duplicate it. They don't need to buy his CD. He's doing it wrong. The digital is your showcase. The analog is your real life. What he should have been doing was having weekly Saturday night concerts at a local coffee shop or something, or this and that, where people would want to come and see him, hear him play. Take the CDs as advertising, and then come next week and let's drink coffee together and I'll play music for you. I'm sorry, whatever. I really, really, really seriously think this. We are the luckiest people in the world in that our analog product is something people really feel and would love to have. The digital product looks the same, but it's missing the essence. The musicians, you get that CD, put your headphones on, sit back, man, you are there. Those guys have trouble. Musicians have trouble, I get it. But we don't have that trouble. Leave it on the website. 10 million people can take it and download it, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 of those will say, you know, shit, I really want to have one of those things. And those are the people who will put the food on your table. Photographers too. John's got another example. Yeah, this is a tough one. I'm not giving you Dave's vision of how the whole world should work. I'm simply speaking of our little, very one corner of it. For us, making these gorgeous, touchable, tasteable, edible woodblock prints, which are easily showable, we are the lucky, 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 lucky. Selling pirated copies is a different story. But in our case, we've got this stuff. For example, our Heroes prints. You would have imagined that we start putting these Heroes prints up, and 10 days later, the Chinese factories are churning out prints and jiglays and T-shirts and whatever. Hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. But again, the same thing. If it did turn out that people started putting your image on mugs and T-shirts and stuff, what does that tell you? It tells you that people like your stuff. Then you jump on the bandwagon. Anyway, I don't want to, I'm sorry, it's a hobby horse. It's what do you call not a hobby horse? You know, when you get riding on this thing, just Dave Stones, my friend here in Aichi Prefecture, or whatever. There's a website, David Stones, Woodblock Prints, look it up. He and I sat here arguing this. He says, no. He puts a watermark, they're little tiny ones. I don't want people to steal this stuff. And he still can't even make a living at it. He's teaching English. The prints are beautiful, but he's still teaching English. You know why? Because he didn't encourage, he didn't let people know what's out there. Karen, you want people to steal your stuff. And out of the million that steal it, if 100 will want it, there you are. That's your food for the next month. Anyway, whatever. I'm not telling you how to run your life, but that's where I see it. Speaking now as a workshop that hires 30 people selling thousands of woodblock prints around every month. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. How's our time? Oh, we're okay. It must be about vacuum cleaner time, is it? There it is. That's a classic tip break. Classic. Ran off the edge here. Ran off the edge. And a bit careless. Instead of stopping here, I put too much pressure in. Boo, and then bang and break at the bottom. Too busy, I'd say, too busy chatting and talking and getting excited and forgetting about the work. It's all your fault. It is funny though, the tip breaks that are clearly my fault, they're okay. It's the tip breaks that are, my God, is this knife actually okay? Is it a bad knife? Is the steel no good? They're the ones that bother me. When I do something stupid and break it, that's okay. There's no problem there. We know where we stand. What's that delivery? He's parked outside the Korean hot dog place there. I don't know. What's he delivering? We've seen this guy before, right? All right, someone's talking about computer software. That's a different story. I'm not trying to give you the plan for the whole world, the way the whole world works. I'm not in any way doing that. People stealing is no good. Computer software is pirating, is theft. I get that. In the case of the woodblock prints, it's a different story. I'm just, oh, it looks like Oshibori, is it? Was that what it is? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, what I said does not apply to computer software. I think it's pretty clear. I'm not talking about the whole world. Everything wants to be free. That's not true. But in our particular case, it's the perfect combination. We can show the object beautifully and clearly, and it doesn't destroy desire for owning the real thing. It only intensifies desire for owning the real thing. There are many people who download the stuff that can't afford to, or as part of their budget. Woodblock prints, they require the certain amount of surplus in your daily life, whatever. You've got to be able to afford them. In the middle of that, there are going to be a lot of people who look at your stuff and enjoy it, but who simply don't have that level of surplus. So let them enjoy it digitally. It's okay. Garbage guy's waiting his turn to get in there, right? So I turned on the outside mic. Outside mic is now off. Oh, he went to get the garbage. Good. I thought he was lazy, sitting there waiting. Not true. Okay, what's the chat here? The hot dog place does indeed produce a huge amount of garbage. Absolutely. Lots of their customers sit and eat right there, so the packaging and all that stuff, and it's drippy and it's messy and whatever. So. The hot dog place is busy. Their business model. Of course, it's been affected by the shutdowns and pandemics and whatever. And their business model before was mostly in-house, of course, but there were some. We would see the Uber guys, Uber, whatever, I don't know how you pronounce it. We see Uber guys coming. Now, every day, sometimes I stand outside just, taking the air, whatever, and there is no... Whatever, I don't know exactly. There's no 3-minute period, for example, when a guy with a bicycle and the Uber doesn't come to the hot dog place. There's no 2-3 minute period. There's no 2-3 minute period when that doesn't happen. They are doing gangbuster business with deliveries. Gangbusters. It peaks, of course, too, around meal times, lunchtime, whatever. So they've successfully made this pivot from being a mostly eat here place to being a mostly eat at home place. And I don't in any way understand the economics, because the stuff they sell, the hot dogs, like they're 450 yen or something, $4 or $5 item. How do you do business with delivery on a $4 item? And it's not that like there's a minimum order for 3,000 yen or something. I see the guy come up with his bicycle, takes his square bag off, opens it up, gets his phone, shows it to the window, and they give him a little tiny bag. And it's like it's got one hot dog in it. He throws it in his bag, gets on his bicycle, and away he goes. What's the business model that allows the maker and the delivery people to make a living on delivering a hot dog? There's no tipping in Japan either, too. The guy gets to the door, dumps it, and runs. No tips. Those drivers do not get tips here. Drivers, riders. Still more garbage? Oh, it's Monday. It was the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, they had their normal online bang, 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 plus lineups. Tokyo is back in business, or supposedly back in business. Soka, it's the Monday morning. All that garbage for a bunch of hot dogs. They throw away more garbage in one day than we'll toss out in a year. And my stuff's going to last 200 years, you know. And their product is already gone. No tourists here. There's no tourists here at all. Zero, zero, zero. Nobody is visiting the country at the moment. It's Japanese, Japanese, Japanese. When I look outside yesterday, whatever, it's 99% Japanese people. Whatever, it's all Japanese people. But local Japanese tourists, of course, too. When you're in Tokyo or nearby, you get up Saturday morning and you talk to your girlfriend, where should we go? What should we do? I don't know. Let's go to Odaiba, Disneyland. Oh, let's just hang out, find a bar. They come to Asakusa. Asakusa is one of the magnet-type places. In the old days, it was about the theaters and the strip shows and the bars. These days, it's about the walking around ambience and the bars. Well, the deliveries I see, you know, there's no one more. The guy is coming up, he opens his bag and he puts in one little plastic bag. It's a transparent plastic bag. You can see it with a yellow, long, thin hot dog case. It goes in and away he goes. Trash sorting, okay, what this is different. Trash sorting in Japan, it depends where you live. Each municipality has its own setup and its own structure and its own incinerator or not, and its own rules and its own composter, whatever. Where I lived before, out in Ome, in a suburb of Tokyo, I throw out the number 20. We had more than 20 categories for disposing our garbage. The city was extremely strict about it. You get a PET bottle, you can't just throw it away. The cap is one type of plastic. You have to cut the neck off the PET bottle, another type. The plastic outside wrapping that shows you what the drink was, that's a different type. And they asked us to do 20 different types of separations, and they picked them up on different days. And we did that. The people in Ome do that. Here in Taito-ku, Taito City, it's divided, but it's not that much divided. There's much less recycling here. The big ones, cans and bottles, are recycled. Nearly everything else, and it turns out that miscellaneous plastic, like plastic from the shopping, the food shopping that you bought, or the plastic that your convenience store bento, they don't want that recycled. They have chosen to burn that. Out in Ome, they are recycling that. And they've told every housewife, wash all your plastic and put it out and then go. And I think that's a bit silly, because those housewives run the hot water tap for 10 minutes to wash a little scrap of plastic. I think that's really counterproductive. Here in Taito, they burn it. So the burnable garbage that's picked up twice a week here is everything compostable is actually burned. A lot of the plastic, which should be recycled, is actually burned. The only recycling here is the clean, easy stuff. I'm personally not kind of happy about this, but whatever. These are professionals. They know what they're doing. They know their costs. They know their benefits. They know how to run a business. And they would not be doing this in any kind of a silly way. They're trying to maximize their return on all their investments here. Absolutely. So here in Taitoku, the garbage tends to be voluminous. And the one we just saw wasn't city garbage anyway. It was privately contracted. So I have no idea where that's going. Landfill or building a new island out in Tokyo Bay. I know nothing about that. No idea. It's regulated. They're certainly not going to dump it in the mountains somewhere. Those days are long past. There's the vacuum lady. She is late, I think, or is it? Maybe it's because it's Monday. I don't know. Okay, are we clear? I think we are done. This now goes upstairs in one corner here. Just a minute, one corner. This will now go upstairs today, champ. She's coming, when's she coming? I don't know. This afternoon maybe, or tomorrow? To do the next batch of test printing on this Patreon Chibi print. And almost certainly this will now be ready to go after we see this. We'll see. It might need another tweak. Oh, it will need another tweak because this area inside the soup bowl is not supposed to be solid yellow. It's supposed to be touch. So we're going to let her do a test print, and she's going to draw on it what she wants, and I will then carve out this area again. There we go. Patreon Chibi blocks ready for action. Did someone ask about paper? No, and you guys, you let me down the other day because I missed it on Saturday. Ishikawa-san was coming, and I forgot to get her paper out. My fault. I can't blame you. My fault. But they still burn trash here. Lots of trash is burned here at extremely efficient incinerators. The incinerator in Omehamura is astonishing. I took a visit to it some years ago. It's incinerated, it's scrubbed, this stuff recycles the power that from the fire, from the burning, turns around to heat, something which makes it more efficient. It's super high efficient, scrubbed, clean stack incineration in most places here. These guys are good at that sort of thing here. So yeah, the garbage we just saw being collected, almost certainly I think, is going to end up being incinerated. The incinerator in Hamura is next door to the city pool. Guess where the heat for the pool comes from? Of course, straight from the incinerator. Questions. Prints will last hundreds of years. Do you think the prints I make will last longer? Do we knowing how to better to preserve them? Quality paper. I'm not sure what to say. It's both. The paper itself, as far as we know, this is a bit quotation marks, as far as we know, the paper itself, having nothing in it but mulberry fiber, really, will essentially last a very, very long time. It doesn't degrade anywhere near the level that normal paper with lignin and acidic things is. So yes, it will last a long time. Having said that, to me there's a big question over this whole thing, because all through the 20th century we've been doing sizing with this glue, and that's clearly a different way than the sizing was done 200x years ago. So I'm not quite so readily easy to say the print I make today, it really will be here 200 years from now. I think so, and honestly I think so, but it hasn't been tested. We have lots and lots of prints here now from Edo, from Meiji, from Taisho, from Showa, from all different levels. And how ours are actually going to survive in that same environment, I really don't know. It's looking good. I think we're okay, but I don't know. The problem with the print preservation is the packaging. For us, for Adachi prints, stuff like this, the Meiji era prints we have left over were not packaged in, you go to the local paper dealer, get some paper, fold it, create some, put it in an album and send it to your collectors. Prints were just sold as a single sheet of paper. So they were never stored inside this other paper made in large factories, acidic, whatever. And clearly the print storage system that came in place after the war, the 60s, 70s, 80s that Adachi was using, which I picked up from my 100 Poets series, is really not good. You've got a product that's going to last 200 years. How do you package it? The packaging material needs to last 200 years. It's not going to happen. Those plastic photos I used to put our prints in the collection in, they're like 10, 15 years before they decay. I'm not worried about that because we're going to replace those. But how do you put a consumer product into the market packaged when the product itself lasts 200 years and the packaging almost certainly will not last 200 years? It's a conundrum and it's a paradox with our stuff. The best way to preserve these woodblock prints is nothing, just naked. Good airflow, good this, not dust on top because that would bring bacteria and mold and whatever. But a naked print is the best way to preserve it. But that's not practical. It's going to get smashed, beaten up, dirty, you name it. So you need a folder, you put it away. Right away now, you've got the touch of the folder, the acid in the folder paper. The air can't get in and out. Perfect for breeding bacteria, foxing mold. The only way to do it, and what we are trying to do here at Mocha Hong Kong, is the packaging material we buy is the best quote acid-free, inside quotes acid-free, inside quotes acid-free paper we can get. The print isn't glued down, the print is placed in there. It's physically protected from being bashed around. We ship it in plastic, obviously, so it doesn't get wet while it's being shipped. Once it arrives, it's got to come out of the plastic because sealing it away from the air is not good. All we can hope is that the mounting materials we've chosen for this are a reasonable quality. It's really a paradox. It's an unanswerable question for a guy who produces a product that lasts 200 years and needs protection. There's no easy answer. So get your prints, enjoy them, make sure at least, whatever, once a while, once a year, whatever. Here in Japan, the old libraries and stuff, actually you see this in the news. You see it every October. It comes out about October 20th. There's the same photograph in every newspaper across the country. I don't know what date it is. It's in autumn. The people who are in Hiroshima, who preserve the books with the names of all the people who died in the bombing or something, those are all in a storehouse, concrete storehouse. They bring them out once a year. Lay these books out in the air, and the white-gloved attendants turn the pages one by one by one by one, leave it out there for a couple of hours, and put it all back. And it's called, the Japanese word for it, nantokoboshi, kukiboshi, I don't know, there's a word, exposing to the air for the purpose of killing mold and stuff like this, and getting some sunshine on for the ultraviolet. Something hoshi, something boshi, somebody will help me here, I forget the word. And that's really, really the best way to do it with one qualification. With our prints, we don't want like direct sunshine shining on the thing. So, but yeah, opening it, getting some air in, closing it, putting it away a couple of times a year. Not on a damp day, on a dry day. This would be the best. But of the people who are collecting our prints, how many are going to do this? David included. I don't have time to do that. I got 10,000 prints. I don't have time to do that. So Father Time takes its toll. Down they go, one by one by one by one. And of the prints produced in the Edo era, how many have we got left now in beautiful condition? A minuscule percent. The same thing will happen to the prints that I've produced, I'm sure. We have a chip. It's not a gigantic chip, but I just took the tip off, as you saw a few minutes ago. So it's time to It's time to pull forward a little bit here. Have we had issues with postal services? Very few. I know the packaging we've prepared for this. I learned the hard way back in the early days. I learned the hard way. The packaging we've prepared is pretty good. We get very, very, very few feedback comments or complaints that prints have been destroyed along the way. Excuse me a sec here. Oops, slip back in. Can't see actually what's happening here. Yeah, sometimes when the print's arriving in good shape, the boxes we use, if you get our Great Wave print or something like this, a bunch of trucks out there today, what's going on? When you get our Great Wave print or Octopus print or one of the prints of that size, the packaging you're receiving it in, we designed that packaging, trying to get something lightweight and strong. The stuff that was out there in the market, I just couldn't find anything that suited. So we designed that. That's our own design. It's funny, actually. Jedsan got some of these a while ago. We've been sending prints across to Jedsan in America by FedEx, and he then ships them out locally within America. And he saw these packages and said, wow, where can I buy some of these? And I'm like, actually, that's our own design. We have them made for us to our design by a local cardboard company. And he's like, what? I'm like, well, what's the problem? He said, you should patent this. You should patent this. It's light, it's strong. There's nothing like this on the market here. I'm like, shit, I'm a printmaker. The last thing I'm interested in doing is mucking around with patents. But he was convinced about this, that our box was so good and so original and whatever that we should patent it, but whatever. I'm sorry if I'm missing part of this. Excuse me. I'm trying to concentrate on this. Hang on a sec. Not sure if I've done a good job on this or not. Yeah, Jed and I were talking about that, and he said, no, you got to do this, you got to do this. The people that develop milk packaging and stuff, they're multi-billionaires. And this is woodblock prints, Jed. So I told him, look, you want to run with it, you run with it. I told him officially, Jed, you can take it. If you want to try this, patent this, go ahead, just go for it. I don't care. The last thing I need is another sidetrack in my life, So. All right, where we are. Oh, the Tokyo subway map. Some of those things, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed about that, We did that little promotion thing. That was in the middle of March. Put it up. Any order before the end of the month would get the Tokyo subway map, the menus, all this kind of stuff. We got tons of orders, put them in the post office over the next 2 weeks. Then they closed off shipping for America. And those things that we put in those 2 weeks have taken months to arrive. People are just getting them now, stuff that we shipped in March. Jed's going to make $1 million on those boxes. You go for it, whatever. It's the same thing I said before for Karen. She said, what if people download my images? You want them to download your images. If that box becomes popular, whatever, it can become popular. I don't care. Here's a question. Have you found that you started substituting finesse for you? You've seen the video, right, where Dave talked about Ito-san's knife, and because I'm too strong, bang, I will break it. It's not a single clear spot. No, I couldn't do it then. Yes, now I can do it now. It's a sliding scale. That video was made with that discussion with Peter Barakans 10 years ago. I was 58. I think I said in that video, I'm 58 now. And give me 10 more years, 12, I forget what I said, whatever. And yeah, I'm definitely better at this than I was 10 years ago. But I'm also definitely not so better at it because at the time I made that presentation with Peter, I was still working as a carver every day. It was forefront of my life. It was who I was. There was no mokohankan. Mokohankan was just a seed of an idea. I was a carver every day and enveloped in that. And now I'm not. I mean, again, we've talked about this too in different videos. So it's a bit of a different path I'm on now. In general, yes. I don't break it anywhere near as often as I used to because I am more aware of the stress in the wood and the stress in the knife. Have I sharpened this one now to the delicacy that knife was sharpened? No, of course not. If I did, it would break instantly. We're working at a different kind of scale and a different kind of approach here. So no. In that sense, I have failed to achieve that goal of being that master touch carver that Ito-san is. Absolutely. When we did the hair on the octopus print a few weeks ago, yeah, I sort of get in that mode, sharpen really delicately, think carefully, and carve carefully. So it's a bit of a different scene, Maybe Ito-san too, what we saw that one day carving that stuff, he was in that mode. For daily work for him, he would use a knife that was sharpened not so delicately, and he would work a bit quicker and a bit more, not carelessly, but a bit more freely. So it's not a single black and white answer for this. Do I have much more of a nice sense for it than I did at that time? Absolutely yes. I just broke it a few minutes ago though, so as you can see, it's not a perfect situation. I'm missing a lot of this. I'm sorry again. I'll read through at lunchtime. So, did Dave do a piece with Peter Barakan? How can you find this? It's on there's a clip of it that somebody else is referring now on YouTube. The program is not on YouTube. The whole program. I can't put it on. It is on my blog. I copied the NHK program onto our blog. Let me see if I can find a link for you. Just one quick second here. Let me give a test if I can find a link. Oh, flash. Okay, you need a flash player. Okay, here's the link. I'm not sure. The video is accessible there with this is what I put up 10 years ago. So inside there is a link to a video. If somebody looks inside there, there's a flash, an F4V, a flash encoded version is in there. Where's the link to the source video? Just a second here. Here it is. Oh, Google, let me copy the source code. Sorry about this. See, a bit of a sidetrack here. Excuse me. Sorry, just a sec. Here we are. Okay, this is not modern stuff. This is a flash encoded version of that program with Peter Barracan. Sorry. So there you are. If you want to download it and convert it to something accessible in a modern world, that's okay. I don't have time to play with stuff like that, but so if you have a flash player running in your browser, this will play. That link should play. Oh, somebody beat me to it. Microhex. Chocolate eggs! Chocolate eggs! You beat me to it. So God. Somebody, Microhex, somebody is hip here. Who is this? Who is this masked man? Microhex. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, that's the source code. If you download it, use a video converter to get it out of Flash. It's the same core. It's just these wrappers. It's a Flash wrapper for the core video, so whatever. What equipment to use for the videos? The videos are nothing. It's just I use a Canon EOS camera on the video mode, a couple of lights. That's it. I edit in iMovie. I don't have FCP. We do have FCP. Cameron's using it for his videos. I just do my stuff in iMovie. There's nothing special at all. Audio is recorded separately and pasted in later. And I have got to get some work done. We're almost out of freaking time. What is this become? This has become a monster. I'm supposed to do work, and you guys are supposed to drop in and look over my shoulder while I'm working. And it has become a monster now. This is my last chance to work every week at these 90-minute sessions. If I lose my working time on these, I'm done. I'm out of business. Is there a seed of an idea in there? Should we do that or something at some point? I'm doing at the moment 3 streams a week. And what's the balance between people who want to watch carving and then we tell and answer the questions and talk about the stuff and things like that? It's a little bit difficult, clearly, to mix the two things. So should we... This is just a seed of an idea. I'm not telling you about this. Should one of the streams be different? Should I not even pretend to try and carve? Just set up the camera and mic in a different way with a show and tell desk beside me, and then we do it as a more of a talk session rather than as a work session. Would that make sense to try that? And then the other 2 sessions, or 3 or whatever they were, I would shut up. I don't know. What should these streams be? What should they be for? It's like the question we asked about the collection earlier. Why is this collection here? What's it for? Who are the users? What's the use case? Try and decide that, and then design the product, design the thing itself to fit that. I don't know. Should this be a show? Here we are, start at 9 o'clock or start at 8 o'clock. On comes this introduction music. There's a host. I don't know. mean, at the moment, I do no preparation for this. It's 9:15. Hey, let's go with the show and tell. I don't want to have a thing built where it's preparation, where I've got to spend 6 hours preparing the content for tomorrow morning's stream. There's no way I can do that. No way, no way, no way. Okay, show and tell. We have 2 today, and these, I hope, are going to be interesting. These are stuff I bought on open auctions just the last few days, over the weekend actually, Friday night and Saturday night. These are things that came up from Yahoo auction. Anybody could have bought them. They're fun. They're fun. The first one we're going to open is something we're going to keep for our collection. And the second one, I've already got it, so it's an extra copy. We've already got one in the collection, so we will sell it on, put it in the shop, put it in the flea market. If Peter Barakan is available to host a new stream, Peter Barakan is really, really good. He would be expensive, and he's busy. He's such a nice guy, you know. He's such a nice guy. I got to be careful what I say, because, you know, Peter I can praise to the skies. Nothing, not the tiniest negative. But I've worked with different NHK hosts, and they're not all like Peter. Peter is efficient, kind, polite, well-prepared. Other hosts are sometimes... What is this? Oh, yes. This guy he's got stuff on Yahoo auctions. He's got more coming up tonight. Actually, let's not talk about that part of it. This guy's found a bunch of prints and put them on Yahoo auctions bit by bit by bit. And he's not a dealer. He doesn't know what they are. And he didn't describe them well. And I believe what he has found a bunch of Nishinomiya prints. And this is pre-war blocks. The particular prints made here I don't think are pre-war printings. They're maybe printed after the war, probably by Seki-san, I think. Oh no, different package. Soka. Scratch that conversation. These are not Nishinomiya. These are something totally different. These are, no, I'm getting the wrong package here. It's okay, it doesn't matter. These are Meiji era prints from Hiroshige. These are Hiroshige originals. This came up also. I get 6 things going on at once. Whatever. I'm running out of time. I have so much to do upstairs today. God. Okay, what these are? You know Hiroshige, blah, blah, Tokaido, famous Edo scenes, whatever, the famous Hiroshige. This is Hiroshige 2. Who was, I guess, an apprentice, somebody in his studio who ended up taking the name after Hiroshige died, or was given the name by Hiroshige. I don't know the background. This was the person we know as Hiroshige 2. He's a joker. He can't draw any better than I can draw. And it's interesting, some of the designers in the old days, it's really interesting to compare the difference. Hiroshige and, say, Yoshitoshi. Yoshitoshi was a designer back then. He had apprentices too. The apprentices would do a bunch of drawing for them, be part of the studio, whatever, and then eventually some of the apprentices take over the business. Yoshitoshi's apprentices included people like Kaburagi Kiyokata and whatever names I should have prepared more carefully. That's an example. Kaburagi Kiyokata, who learned in the Yoshitoshi studio. Then in his studio came in people like Ito Shinsui and Kondo Tori Kon, what's the guy's name? They did the beautiful, beautiful Shinbijinga. And you can see clearly a guy would have an area where he really teaches and people learn there. And there's other studios where, okay, do some background work and then here you get it. And in Hiroshige's studio, the people who were working there never learned enough, or he didn't get the right people to be able to carry on actually with any good at it. So we have Hiroshige 2, and they're just whatever. They're, quote, pretty little pictures. These are later prints. Yes, you can see by the backing paper. They've been stuck in the backing paper. These are later prints. Again, I keep saying Taisho. It's late Meiji, 1890, 1910, somewhere around there, or moving to early Taisho period. And there was a huge, huge set. They published, I don't know how many, 100, 120, 150 scenes of Edo, different places. And I've got the set at home in Ome, but it's very, very badly foxed. It was kept in an album and never opened to the air, very badly foxed. And the other day on auctions came up a bunch of these things. And these copies are very, very, very nicely prepared and preserved. Let's have a look at this. The designs are schlock, standard little schlock, nothing really interest to the art world, but the objects are beautiful little objects. And it's famous scenes of Tokyo. No, this is not 1600s. This is, I don't know, 1880s maybe, somewhere around there. 1870s, 1880s. This is the very end of the Meiji period. Edo has finished. We are now in Meiji. The country is restructuring. So you've got scenes that could have been taken X hundred years ago, and you've got scenes that are more modern. And in this particular series, they have not emphasized the modern parts of Tokyo at all. They're showing classic, old-fashioned scenes. Here, this is Eitaibashi. This is the famous bridge in Tokyo. Out there is the open sea, and at some point they built a major bridge at Eitaibashi, and it was a revolution for society there. The old seagoing ships could no longer get up the river. So they had used these seagoing ships with the tall masts used to get as far up the river as they could to unload their stuff up by the Kanda, or even some almost as close as Asakusa. Once the Eitaibashi went in, that was it. The large ships couldn't get past that point. So at that bridge, a huge port system developed where goods were offloaded from the larger ships onto smaller craft for taking them up the river. These are nice. These are cool. Very, very pleasant. Nicely made. It's not great art in any way whatsoever. Really, really simple. It's like if you tried to be an apprentice for this, learned a few things, and you were competent at the basics of it, but you're no good at the art side of it. I mean, look at this. It's basically competent. He's learned how to draw sails. He's learned how to do this, do this, do this. But what's the art value in this? Absolutely nothing. They're barely, barely competent, nice little pictures. Completely, what's the word? Just standard. Just blow it out, 10 minutes, move to the next one. But having said that, they're beautiful little objects. What is this? Oh, it's too stylized. I can't quite read the calligraphy. I'm sorry. Some of these I can read, some of these I can't. I think the location is Tsukijima. It's out near the port where the Sumida River drops into the sea. But what's going on here? I can't read it. I'm sorry. Something above the zoo. I will look that up and report back to you. I don't have any idea what's going on here. Here, another example, eh? I mean, like really interesting or not? Not. This is Fukagawa. Sanju-san. Is this Sanju-san Gendo? Is it a copy of the... Interesting. What is that? Don't know. They're nice. Very pretty. Very pretty. These will go into our collection. We've got a lot of these because these are so cheap and inexpensive to buy. We've got quite a lot of these, so they'll go into the collection. Anyway, oh, that's a nice one. Look at this. I spoke too soon. Although, again, maybe this is the same idea, that the printmaking technique can make even not so interesting art look really, really beautiful. This is what Dave found when I did my own Solitude series. I'm not an artist. There's no message. I can't clearly create good, interesting art. But the technique involved can sometimes make things look so interesting and attractive, people think it's good. Okay. Coming soon to an online collection website near you. not soon. The other one, this is going to be more fun. That batch cost me, there's 12 of them in there, and I paid a bit more for it than I should have. I bid 18,000 yen. So I bid about $160, and that's probably more than I should have paid. The reason I bought that and wanted it is because, as I said, we have many, many of those in our collection, and almost all of them are heavily foxed. And I wanted some nice examples to be able to show in the collection. So I paid more than what is actually theoretically worth, I think. Sometimes the buying we do here is, it's tactical or strategic, whatever. In general, we're strategically buying. We just have a policy of the kind of stuff we like to get. Every now and then, there's a purchase that would be a tactical purchase. There's a specific reason for getting that particular one at that particular time. It's like that thing we saw this morning on the auction a few minutes ago, the Skytree print. I would guess, I don't know, I would guess that maybe the buyer could be, for example, the Skytree people. They would be making a tactical purchase. Even if you got to spend $18,000, it's going to come back to you. Okay, what this is, we've already got this in the collection upstairs. This is an extra. This is from the bubble time, 1980s. A company, Tanseido, a company made a series of reproductions of paintings from the golden ages of Japanese painting before the ukiyo-e era. So this is not an ukiyo-e reproduction. This is a reproduction of a painting, and it's by Ogata Korin, a very, very, very famous painting. I think it was a pair of screens originally. And they were reproduced in the 1980s as large-scale woodblock prints. So we're talking large-scale here, large-scale woodblock prints. And this is one of a pair. And this is the bad news. The reason I got it cheaply on auctions is because its partner was missing. I wrote to the dealer and said, "Hey, do you have both of them?" He said, "Nope, all I got is this one. You want it?" And I'm like, I don't want this myself, but there are people out there who may actually want this. This is the information that came with it. And here we go. Do you know the symbol for Asakusa? How am I going to show this? Which camera should I use here? Let's see. Let's try this. This is one half of the famous Fujin Daijin. This is the Daijin side, the god of thunder. And it's done with in imitation of the gold scroll painting, the screen painting that it originally was. And we only have half. Yeah, if I put the other camera out, just a sec, let's try this. If I put that camera out, this down here. There we go, that'll do it, that'll do it, that'll do it. But it's only one of the two. We have the pair upstairs in our own collection, but this is now just one half. So I'm thinking that even though it's just partly, now this is not ukiyo-e in any way whatsoever. You just talk about ukiyo-e with the wider the paper shows through. This is in reproduction of a screen painting, a scroll painting, a screen painting. The white you see here is white pigment slathered on. This is printed in Kyoto, in the Kyoto style. It's not real gold. There may be, no, it's not real gold. It's probably titanium, squeezed titanium oil pigment with gold flakes or gold imitation, something mixed in. They would print a gold color flat first in oil-based ink, and then print from a wood block a gold tinted pattern on this. It's very speckly, very shiny. What they may have done was mixed on a mica powder in there to make the shininess and speckle. And they've reproduced the painting. And also there's lots of stuff that doesn't look wood blocky at all. I mean, look at this stuff. It's blotchy, it's screwed. They've imitated not only the painting, but the damage that's come in from the painting. We've had these before. We have a nice pair upstairs in the collection. We've had another pair. Another pair came in about a year ago or so, lasted 15 minutes, and this is now one half. And I have now two options. What I could do is keep this here, waiting till a chance to get the other half, which is awfully not likely, because when again, this guy said he doesn't have the other half. So what's going to happen next time is a year from now, the pair is going to come in again. So I think what we'll do is I'll get Rose or Kitasan to scan this and throw it in the flea market catalog. I don't see any point in holding on to this, waiting for another copy that will almost never come. Here we go. Here's the little impression on this. Can we see this? And we have here, it says it's marked of number 24, does it say? 24 of an edition of 200. This is Tansei Sha Ban, Tansei Sha production. And below it, we have, I can't see well today, you know, it's funny. I have a new floater. You know the floaters that come in your eyes? I have a new one in my right-hand eye. It's interfering here. It says, the printing is Yoneda-san. Okay, he's a Tokyo printer. Did they print it in Tokyo? I don't know. Uretani, the carver. But printing in Tokyo. Maybe they printed both. Who knows? Anyway, there it is. There it is. There it is. Very, very interesting art. It's grotesque art. It's insanely famous, this pair. Fujin Daijin, the wind god Fujin, which is not here, and Daijin, the thunder god, who is here. And speaking of Fujin Daijin, coming up for next year's series, you know, one of the ideas in play for next year's series, whatever, one of the ideas in play for next year's series does involve these two gentlemen. Okay, all right, away we go. That's it for today. Today's Monday night. If it's Monday morning, I'll be back here again when next time? Thursday morning, and we'll be continuing the carving on that pair of horses. See you then. Thanks very much for watching, and catch you next time. Bye-bye for now.